and welcome to the Design Rescue Show, where we take a behind-the-scenes look at the unique journeys of creative professionals, and we learn about the choices they've made that have shaped their career paths. Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us today. I'm your host, David Block, and today I'm happy to welcome Fractional Creative Director. Let me say that one more time. I'm happy to welcome Fractional Creative Director, Costas Schuler. Costas, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you, David, for having me on your show.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And, the show is basically a behind-the-scenes look at your creative career journey. And so what I'd like to do is go all the way back and start at the very beginning and just have a short conversation about, your education, what kind of led you to the world of design. And so could you talk about your early kind of design education?
So I went to a community college in Cupertino, California, and I declared to do computer science. My dad's an engineer, so he pushed me to do that. I did math and all that stuff. So that was my major, computer science. I didn't take any of those classes. I just took like a 3D art class, and I was hooked. Like 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm doing a project. I'm like, this is it. I love doing, making things and doing art projects. So I just kept taking art classes. And then eventually I started like, I got to make some money. So I started taking the design classes. And so I went that route. And it really was, really made sense to the way I think. So for me, graphic design is both analytical, which is kind of the engineer side of, the side of the brain, and then the art side. So it's a great combination of two brains put together, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. So I'm curious, back in the beginning, did your interest grow as a result of school, or did you go to school after realizing that design was something you wanted to do?
No. I mean, I went to school. I went to community college. After high school, you go to community college and start taking classes. And sort of with the idea that you're going to go on to something else. I had no idea that graphic design was something I was supposed to do or I like doing. Like, no idea. It just sort of evolved. Like, hey, I like this stuff. I like, arts, but I like the sort of the technical, the more. It's kind of technical. You know what I mean? It's not as. There's some rules and things and some structure. So I like that. That's what kind of over time I got into it. And then trying to explain to my parents what it is that I was doing every day was like, took me a couple of years. Like, what are you doing? They had no idea.
So could you talk about one of your first projects?
Okay. So, well, what happened with community college, I took all the classes, but I lost steam and I dropped out. I don't have anything. I don't have an associate's degree or anything like that. So my dad started a book publishing company and hired me to design the book covers for his first book and to do the layout. And so that was literally my first project. It was a book that was published in 1910 called Aircraft and Warfare that we republished. And that was my first book. I remember using Photoshop 2.0, trying to like mask out this gunner in this World War I plane. I was like, took me 3 hours to cut out the background because Photoshop, there was no memory. If you screwed up or it crashed, you have to start all over again. So that was my first project.
I'm guessing that must have been around 91, 92-ish, right around there?
94 to be exact.
94, okay, all right. Okay, because I was using Photoshop 2 right around that same time. That's when I started doing it as well.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. That's awesome. You did the layout of the whole book, or did you just do the graphics for it?
The whole thing. I did the logo for the company. It was called Lancaster Press. I did the cover. It was like a gunner on the front of a World War I plane in the sky. So I had to put the sky behind the gunner. Right. I did the layouts. It was the whole thing. And I'm sorry to say, I used New Times Roman for the title. So that was like.
It's classic. It's a classic. That's
mistakes awesome. Were made. Mistakes were made.
Right. Exactly. That's fantastic. So, okay. So now looking back on your career, could you identify a pivotal project or maybe a client or something that you worked on, a challenge that you worked on that was pivotal for your career that kind of sort of gave you the direction that you wanted to go in?
So I ended up after that job, I ended up working for Ernst & Young in the creative service department, and that was my first and last corporate job, I'd like to say. And then I ended up working for a design firm. Like it was a great design firm in Sausalito, California. And that's where like we're doing like Black Angus menus, we're doing logos. It was like my boss, he was, I was complaining. One day I was complaining about something. He's like, dude, quit your complaining. This is what we're doing. And so he was very like, he mentored me, like the way I do logos, the way I lay things out really like took shape there. Really like I go there was when I really started to get into the nuance of how you lay type, the logos and white space and all that stuff. So that was a great experience working for that design firm. It was an agency, whatever.
Oh, that's great. Okay. And so I'm curious if actually over time, has your creative process in your work, has it changed? Have you modified the way that you do your work?
Of course, you have to. If you want to make more money, you got to be more efficient, first of all. And I ended up working at a print shop and that's where I was doing pre-production, and I was terrible at it. So the guy let me go. But what he told me, what I realized is like, you got to be fast and you got to be good, because I was good, and I was taking my time designing and, but like I got into a production, environment. Then like I had to crank it out because the boss wasn't making any money on me. You know what I mean? So that's what I had to be good and fast. So that really got me going. And so he let me go, and that's when I started my business. So every once in a while, I'll call Larry up and say, "Hey, man, thanks for letting me go. It's the best thing you ever did for me." So
that's a great learning experience. Yeah,
absolutely,
sure.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Listen, I would get like working at a print shop is really good because you get to figure out how to design for print. Like especially back in the day, offset printing. You got to have your stuff together. Like you can't be all artsy fartsy. And, it looks good, but it doesn't print well. So I would get these like, when I'd screw up, I'd get these like print sheets, like 1824 sheets, press sheets on my desk with big angry notes. Like don't.
Oh my God.
So that's how I learned at the print shop to not screw it up and actually pay attention to color and how I lay things out. So that was also very valuable. Getting schooled by an angry, drunk pressman. It's not fun.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. So, in your career, have you worked on teams before, or have you been mostly? I don't want to say solo, but have you worked by yourself, or have you worked on teams before?
I mean, solo, because letting go of the work is hard. Trusting other people is the tricky part, right? Nobody can do it like you do it. But right. So in terms of teams, the closest I've come to is having to like hire outside vendors to take care of some production or do some things. Like when I need some help doing some things, once I get the design done, I can hand off the project to somebody else to sort of like do the production stuff. So I wouldn't say I've worked with teams in a strict sense, like in a company with a lot of people. It's just vendors and outside contractors.
I would love to hear if we could just kind of shift gears.
Yeah.
Going through your websites, I looked at Envisionary Design. I love the products that you've got in there, the projects that you've got in there. I would love to hear about the project that you did for the. Let me go over there real quick. Jump in here for CES that you did for Dow. I'd love to hear your process, what you did for them, and how it turned out.
So that was a connection. But it's interesting how you connect with people. So I connected with the owner or the founder through the art cars. Meaning I actually started decorating my art car with pens, and I got into the art car community, and I met this awesome guy named Philo, and then so he brought me on the team to basically needed help with design. Like a lot of companies, what I found is they have a great team, they have a marketing, CMO, but they don't have the design part. Like that is a missing part. Where the marketing guy is trying to do the marketing or the design stuff, or they're trying to find somebody to do it. So it seems like always like a missing piece. So I was brought on to do that project, to just be part of their team, to do their design, to do anything they needed. Like they had some events, so I did all the sort of the event booth graphics and all that stuff. So that's what I did for them. I did like brochures and some posts, and so it was like a complete package. So when I come on board with a team, my mind is like, I want to make everything look consistent. That's like my madness. I mean, that's my superpower. Like everything has to look like it came from one person, because a lot of times, they get one guy, they go over here, they get done over here, and they have another guy do it over here, and it looks like a mess, because there's different people working on different things, and there's no cohesive brand and design. So that was a big deal. That was like one of the first the booth design things that I did for them. The flyers and the background and the banners and all that stuff. So that was a fun project to do.
That's fantastic. And I'm curious now, looking at the other work that you've got in there. Market Chef was another one, and I'm curious how that particular project differed from your other project.
Okay, so that was the experience that I took from my mezz design in Sausalito's, because they do a lot of packaging. So that was an idea that the guy was going to do quinoa. He had like 12 different flavors, and it was all about the Machu Picchu. That was the theme, because the quinoa was coming out of there. And so unfortunately, like, it didn't go anywhere. Like I did all the work, and oftentimes, you spend all the money to do the brand, this and that, and then like poof, like nothing happens. Like the guy decided to not do that project. So it's probably like a money thing or whatever. He spent a lot of money, trying to like organize all this production in like Peru with the quinoa, but it was neat to be able to figure out how to create 12 different flavors under this brand, and so that was an interest, because I had different flavors. And that's the cool part, is figuring out how to say you have 12 of something. How do you make them look the same but all different? So they all part of like a grouping of packaging. So that was the fun part.
I'm actually in my first year design classes that I'm teaching right now. We're doing a hot sauce project. There it is. Hang on. We're working on a hot sauce project. I'm having them design the logo, and then they're building the labels, and they've got to build 3 different labels for the 3 different flavors. It is a challenge, but it's actually kind of fun to see the the work that comes out of these kids, and see how different and how creative they can be with it. So it's definitely a challenge for sure.
Yes.
If you're enjoying this video, please take a moment to hit that like button, leave a comment below, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our future videos. Thank you. Yeah. Now, I would love to hear about the pen guy. I've been waiting to hear about this. I looked at your website. What a great idea. What a fun idea. So could you talk a little bit about that project?
So I went to the library one day, and I picked a book, and it was about people that decorate their cars. And that book just gripped me. I read every story. It was called Art Cars by Les Blank. And I'm like, dude, I got to do that. I don't know what I got to do, but I got to be part of this thing, because, I'm an immigrant to this country. And to me, an art car is very like Americana, very like a part of the weird culture that exists in America. So that was a lovely expression. And so 2 years later, I'm like, I didn't know what to do. I'm like, what do you do? How do you commit to something on your car? And that's a big commitment, right? So 2 years later, I woke up one morning, and the idea to put pens on the car was like, ding. It was like my inbox, like, put pens on your car. I was like, that's it. Like, I literally, that was it. So I found 20 pens around the house. I found some, it was some silicone glue. And I had an 81 Mercedes, so I started gluing on my door, and then I went to work, and then I started collecting, I started telling people, and the door grew and grew, and it just slowly grew. And then I found the art car people in San Francisco, so I went to the first art car fest parade, and I literally did that for 15 years. I drove this car every day. It was my daily driver. I ended up collecting 750,000 pens from all over the world. Like, I had a website. and I got to meet people. It was just a wonderful expression and lovely, and people knew me as the pen guy, and they're yelling, "Hey, the pen guy!" So I was on. It just opened up a whole bunch of doors. But what's interesting about it, it was my first big brand experiment or project. But so because for me, it's like I always go to branding. So when I see a car driving down the street, I want to know who that is. So I had to figure out, like, I wanted to make it easy for people to know who I am. So I came up with a moniker, the pen guy.
Right.
So I'm the pen guy. So hey, well, look, the car's driving down the street. Hey, that's the pen guy. So it was like a branding thing. It wasn't originally meant to be like a branding project, but it turned into one because that's what I do. I'm a branding guy, right?
Right.
So, and then I started showing up on news articles. I was on like a TV movie on Netflix called Doggy B, National Geographic, Smithsonian Channel. Like it was just like I was a viral on YouTube, front page of YouTube. It was just pretty amazing. So
that's awesome.
So that was it. That was the most joyful project I've ever done in my life. I'm so grateful that I got that idea, and that I listened to the gut feeling and said, "You got to do this. You got to do this." And that's what one of the sort of the overall arches in my life is the idea of intuition, like the gut feeling. Like listen to that, because those are like some of the best. Even though it sounds crazy, like gluing pins to your Mercedes is a crazy idea, but I didn't know what it would turn into unless I had taken the step, like, I'm going to do that. So that is my biggest takeaway in life. It's like when your intuition is developed over time, listen to it. The more you listen to it, the more you sort of go with it.
Right.
You'll find out, sometimes you're wrong, sometimes you're not. But like over time, it builds, and it's like a muscle. And
Right.
over time, you can make decisions in business or relationships or whatever, because you like something's going on, you feel something, and then you end up making the right decision at the end of the day. So,
right.
Yeah.
So is that something that you do now aside from pen guy? Do you do other personal projects, and do you find it valuable to take time to build personal projects for yourself?
So I'm no longer doing the pen guy project. The car rolled down the hill and crashed into a tree, bro, and that was it. Like I'm not, that that was it. The universe said, "Hey, man, it's time to do something else." Boom. I mean, literally, like rolled down the hill and like crunched. And it was like, I'm not gonna. So it was time. I felt like the shift. So that's fine. Personal projects. I mean, I've been involved with, because I'm ADHD. I do all kinds of stuff. Like I've learned how to weld. I know how to fix cars. I can fix appliances. So I don't have any personal projects right now. I mean, I live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I moved to Florida about 3 years ago from California. I live in an apartment, and I don't have the space to do things like that. And that's
Right.
okay, because what I'm doing right now is focusing on the business, and that is like the biggest thing that's taken up my time and creativity is, making sure I'm married. I have 3 kids here with me, and so my job is to make sure the business is running, take care of my wife, take care of my kids, and my clients. So, and my body and my spiritual life. So that's sort of like what I'm working on right now and then this podcast thing, I was like, I have a lot of things I want to share with people. Right. So I decided to sort of reach out on this channel to podcasters. And within a week, I got like 4 responses, which is really beautiful. So
that's fantastic.
So it tells me that there's something in me that is valuable that I can share. I don't know what yet, but I'm here with you. It's awesome.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Well, I totally appreciate you being here. And the way that I look at it, I see that, our stories as designers don't normally get told. And I think that my students and other students around the world, to be honest with you, if they hear our stories of how we've gotten through the challenges of the creative industry, I think it could help inspire them to, continue pushing. Yeah. So that's really the whole the gist of my show. So once again, thank you. I appreciate you being here and telling your story.
Yeah, it's not easy. We're like, every day you have to decide whether or not you're going to quit or not. And that's the biggest thing. Like, don't quit, because you don't know, like on the other side of that difficult time, there's something wonderful that happens. And I've experienced that over and over again. Like coming to Florida was like, that's a big deal, man. I was living out in the country with my art card. I had a workshop and all this stuff. Now I'm living in the city. It's one of the hardest things, but it was actually the most productive things I've ever done in my life. Like I made more money coming here and struggling. Like I didn't know how I was going to make it. The last couple of years has been weird, but the difficulty in going through that process, because if you have a belief that what you're doing is going to work, you just got to keep doing it, even though it doesn't seem like it. So that's my encouragement to young designers. Like if you know this is what you got to do, you do whatever it takes. You just put in the work, grind, do whatever it takes. Do the free stuff. I mean, I don't do free stuff as much, but like sometimes you got to do some free stuff. Like get in there, because every time you do something, there's always like the next step, and the next step unfolds for you, and you end up in a place where like, man, how did I get here? Because I just kept believing that what I was doing was the right thing. So I guess that's my biggest encouragement to young designers.
That's great advice. That is great advice. I'd like to actually just take a sidestep and actually, well, I don't know if it's a sidestep or a diagonal step. I'd like to hear you talk a little bit about Envisionary Designs. What is talk about your services.
So what I've focused in on lately is helping CMOs and marketing managers in manufacturing companies. It seemed like I've sort of landed in a lot of different manufacturing companies or bigger brands who need help. Like they have a marketing department that have all these positions, C-level, but the design part is a little weak and there's a struggle. So my job is to make the CMOs and the marketing manager their job easy. Like my biggest desire is that when they send me the project, they never have to worry about me ever again until I hand back the project. I want to make their burden as easy as possible, because they got a lot to think about, right? They got a business to run, they got marketing campaigns, yada yada. And so the last thing they want is to worry about, like, can the designer do his thing? Can he produce? Can he do the things he said he was going to do? So if I can come in and like, you don't even know I'm there, I'm doing the work, I'm just sending it back to you and it's getting done. Maybe they have me manage the printing jobs and then make sure that the job lands at their office. Like today, I'm picking up a banner, crazy ass banner we did. It's due tomorrow, but it's getting picked up today. I'm going to deliver it to the clients because they need it for their opening, the big, open house for tomorrow. Right. So that's kind of and so, yes, I like the logos. I like the design. I do also WordPress sites as well, but there's other things that need to be done. Right. Like what else? Like sometimes I need help with their site, something goes down, something's not working. So I'm like the engineer goes back in there and figure out what's going on. So I'm there to just help them and get them moving.
Do what needs to be done.
Yeah, get the work done.
I've never heard the term fractional creative director. Did you make that up, or is that? I apologize.
That's just a buzzword. That's just a buzzword that says I work for a lot of different clients.
Got it. Okay, I see. I see. I didn't want to put it down or anything like that.
No, it's just a buzzword. I don't know if it even works. Nobody cares, I don't think.
Yeah, it's super creative. I think it's a good way to put it.
This fractional CMOs. What's that? Fractional CMOs. There's all kinds of, because now we live in a world where you're not working for one company, right? We're all freelancers. We're all like, hustling and doing side gigs. That's the economy, the gig economy, so to speak. So you have to. I think it's safer to have multiple clients, because if one big client goes away, you got three others. But if you have one working for one person and they let you go, then you're kind of like, now what? So it's a little bit of a safety thing. Is having. I just need more options, man. I need more options.
I hear you. I totally hear you. Absolutely. Well, Costas, once again, thank you for being here. We've come to the end of the conversation. I got one last question for you. And that is, now you just gave some advice, but I would love to hear if you have any advice for new designers or artists who want to make a positive impact through their creativity.
Okay. So the first thing I think you have to take care of is you got to take care of the persons that is inside of you. You come. I know it sounds selfish, but you come first. Take care of the person who's inside of you. Like I struggle with social media. Like I got to post because the latest thing or the latest craze that's going on, and like there's a part of me that wants to be a part of that because I want to get in there and, you know, get some excitement. But it kills me a little bit. It's like, it's not me. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So every day I have to figure out, like, what is it that is brings me joy, right? What makes me light up, and then do that. And then, but so when you're yourself, like I decided to put some crazy images on my website. Like most websites, I put my personality on the website. Like, you know, there's different shots of me doing different things. Most companies that I've seen don't have that, but I chose because that makes me happy. That's who I am. I think I'm a funny guy. I have a sense of humor. I'm you know, animated, and I wanted to express that. So I've had clients come to me. They find me and like, there's something about you. I just wanted to work with you because you're not like everybody else. So on the one hand, I could have said, well, nobody's doing that. Nobody's putting their goofy faces up on their websites. But I decided to do it, to be true to myself. And then actually it turned into connecting with the right kind of clients who saw who I was and liked who I was. And so because I only want to work with those people. Anybody who thinks my site is stupid, that's great. I don't want to work with you. You already think I'm an idiot. That's fine. I can't compete with that. Like, I just want to work with people who want to be around me. So in order to do that, I have to be, it's hard. It's scary to be genuine, to be yourself, to find your true self and to, like, put it out there. That is the hardest thing. But if you do that, you will benefit. You will benefit. I mean, it will turn out good for you. Even though it's hard and scary, people will see your true self and they will be attracted to who you are. That's what they want, because everybody's like AI right now. Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's, you know, doing the same freaking TikTok, the same, you know, sound effects. It's boring. It's really boring. So you have to be willing to take a chance and do your thing.
Right. Take a risk and put yourself out there.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Costas, for being here. And I've enjoyed this last half hour just chatting with you and getting to know you. And I appreciate you being on the show.
I really, truly appreciate you having me on there and giving me the opportunity to share some weirdness.